Okay. Ich würde das Intro gern sehen. Das ist momentan winzig, lieber Zuschauer. Ich meine, ich werde es hinterher aufblasen, wenn es nicht anders geht. Aber es nimmt ungefähr ein Fünftel vom Bildschirm ein in der Mitte. Game 1, Game Options. Resets Game. Warum F12, wenn ich wenn ich Screenshots machen will? Alt, Enter, Full Screen. Fantastisch. Vielen Dank. Ich will trotzdem mal in die Game Options gucken. Launch in Full Screen würde ich gerne. Ja, jetzt kann ich die Options gar nicht mehr aufrufen. Gut, wir starten einfach mal. The Deed. Es handelt sich um ein Reverse Crime Game. Weil ich nicht genau verstehe, wenn es Reverse... Also ich muss, glaube ich, jemanden umbringen. Und versuchen, damit durchzukommen. Scotland, November 1945. Da hätte ich ja nicht Fullscreen machen müssen. Das bleibt ja winzig. My name is Aaron Bruce, son of Malcolm Bruce and rightful heir to the Dunshiel House. Moment, Bruce der Nachname und das Dunshiel ist das war gut. I have recently discovered that my tyrant of a father intends to disinherit me in favor of my deranged younger sister. Das ist der Zeitgeist, Junge. Tut mir leid. Egal wie deranged die Frauen sind, sie kriegen das Geld in Zukunft. My relationship with the family is strained, to say the least. I have decided that the time has come for my sister to be removed from this ghastly equation. Tu es nicht, Junge! Bleib sauber, dir zuliebe. I intend to put her out of her misery. Ja, das wird dein Vater tun, wenn er ihr das Geld vermacht. Dann ist sie out of her misery. Dann ist sie enjoys life for the rest of it. Unfortunately, my sister never leaves the confines of Dunshiel House, which makes the matter more complicated. Ist das hier wirklich ein Zug? Das ist ein interessantes... also, es ist praktisch dreidimensional, aber dann ausgeklappt. Seltsam. I have not visited the family home in quite some time. Can't bear to be in that hellhole for long. However, my presence on the night of my father's 50th birthday will cause no suspicion. I must choose the timing and method of the deed very carefully. Tonight is the night I go, and it's done. The bell invites me. Ist eine gute Art, ne? Wenn ich der Vater der Familie bin und will irgendjemanden umbringen, mache ich den zum Alleinerben. Keiner wird mich umbringen, ne? Weil, also außer der Alleinerbe. Aber die werden dann denjenigen umbringen. Falls mir daran gelegen ist. Das Bild ist jetzt ein bisschen größer geworden, ne? Bisschen. Bloody hell, George. Who has been responsible for maintaining the gardens? Used to be Big Jack Willis. Sir, he's been dead almost a year now. I do a little here and there. Can't do much on account of my bad back, though. My sister hasn't offered to help you, then? Miss Jennifer isn't really the outdoor type, sir. I know, George. It was just a joke. Very funny, sir. Let's get inside before the ocean comes to Dunshiel. Homecoming. Ich kann auch mit dem Ding hier nicht raus. Das Format ist sehr eigenartig. Gewöhnt sich auch nicht dran. Converse with your relatives and search the house for useful objects. Objects are divided into two categories. Items of evidence and weapons. You will only be allowed to pick up 2 objects from around the house before dinner commences, so choose wisely. After dinner, you will have the chance to plant an item of evidence, if you wish, and then commit the murder. There are many ways to the deed, but only the cunning will succeed. Cooler Spruch. Wir wissen nur nicht, wer es gesagt hat. Okay, wenn das Haus sich jetzt so aufbaut, also das könnte natürlich interessant sein, wenn es größer wird. Aber es freakt mich out, dass der Cursor da verschwindet.
Good evening, Mr. Aaron. May I take your coat?
Only if I can take your dress. Ka-ching. Of course. Yes, take this blasted wet thing off me. Muss ich ein Arschloch sein? Oder kann ich nett sein? Ein netter Mörder. Schwestermörder. You're new, aren't you?
Sophia is my name. I recognize you from the pictures, Mr. Aaron. I'm not new exactly. I've been employed.
Warum gehe ich jetzt plötzlich Südstaaten? Ich weiß auch nicht.
I've been employed by your family for almost a year. It's just that you've never visited before.
I've been busy. Ich mach's straight. Okay, ich sehe schon, da sind so richtige fiese Antworten drin und konfrontative, aber ich mach mal so einfach. My work keeps me very busy, unfortunately.
I understand. I've been away from my family a lot since I started this job. You are here now, and I'm sure you're eager to meet with the others. Your father is in the library on your left, and your mother is in the parlor, which is on your right. The sister is upstairs in her room, I think.
Where can I find you, my prey? Ja, warum damn, ne? I know the way around my house, also thank you. Thank you for your help, Sophia.
You're very welcome, Mr. Aaron.
Ich meine, wäre es nicht sinnvoll, wenn ich jemanden umbringen will, dass ich mich nett zu allen verhalte? Oder macht mich das verdächtig?
I will be in the kitchen preparing dinner. I'll sound the bell when dinner is served.
Ah, laufen sie. Also, hier ist die Kitchen. Tja, meine Schwester ist oben. Aber ich werde natürlich mal hier dem Vater Bescheid sagen. Wo muss ich denn lang gehen? Wie kann ich denn hier runter gehen? Ah ja. Okay. Moment, wo sind die jetzt lang gegangen? Wo? Und was für Items gibt es hier? This old stone fireplace is nothing to interest you. Ist aber gut, wenn solche Spiele so anfangen. One of your mother's prized golden candlesticks sits at the center of the table. Would certainly make for an elegant traditional murder weapon. Take the candlestick. Ich will alles haben. Are you sure you want to take the candlestick? Remember, you can only pick up 2 objects. Yes, I'm sure. You take the heavy candlestick and conceal it on your person. Hopefully nobody will miss it at dinner table. Ist das ein Kerzenleuchter in ihrer Hose oder freuen sie sich noch, mich zu sehen? Wie komme ich denn hier in ein anderes Zimmer rein? Ach so, Moment, hier. Jetzt bin ich in der Küche. Oder geht's in den Keller? Ich will aber hier rein. Gut. Das heißt, hier muss ich reingehen. Etwas merkwürdig hier von der... Macht direkt gute Laune, solche Musik.
I see you made it, Aaron. Forgive me if I don't stand. Your mere presence has almost given me a heart attack.
Meine Schwester? Oh, hello, Mother. Das ist ungefähr so alt wie ich, aber hat eine graue Perücke auf. Das liebe ich auch in manchen alten Filmen.
Please sit down if you want...
nee, nicht Südstaaten.
Please sit down if you want to talk properly, Aaron. I don't want to crane my neck looking up at you.
Ja, wo kann ich mich denn hinsetzen, Mom? Hier? Oh nein. You glance over your shoulder to make sure your mother isn't looking. The red book on the desk says diary on the front. Doch, guck ich mir auch an. Are you sure? Ja, ich bin sicher. You snatch the diary and with your back turned to your mother you have a quick leaf through. In recent pages she writes about the difficulties in caring for someone with your sister's condition. How she wishes it would all end. Okay, Mom. Ich würde sagen, du bist die Mörderin. You realize this could look quite incriminating out of context. You remove the last 2 pages from the diary and then place it back where it was. Again, a bell invites me, this time to dinner it seems. Dinner is served.
Sophia, could you come here a moment?
Schwester ist jetzt auch da.
Yes, ma'am. Have you seen the golden candlestick we usually leave on the dinner table? I think it was there earlier today, ma'am.
Have a look in the pantry later, would you? It's terribly valuable.
Yes, ma'am.
Pour me some wine.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam. Oh, what is it, George? I must protest. It has always been my duty to pour the wine at dinner.
Oh, well, I don't want to cause any trouble.
Nonsense. What does it matter, George? Stop being overly pedantic. Huh? Das ist der einzige Job, den ich habe, außer Auto zu fahren. Lassen Sie mir das. But I... Do you let Steph speak to you like that? Come on, let's George pour the wine. He just wants to look down your dress. Nee, ich bitte mir... Yeah. Come on, let George pour the wine. Just let him pour the damn wine, would you? It's his job. You stay out of it, boy! If your mother wants the girl to pour the damn wine, then the girl will pour the damn wine. Of course, my apologies. Das ist jetzt meine Schwester, ja?
An interfering little rat, isn't he, Daddy?
Yes, he is. Why can't you ever keep your mouth shut, boy? Ich werde mich nett zeigen, ne? Ich hätte meinen Vater draufgehen lassen sollen, ne? Meine Mutter war ja ganz nett eigentlich. Perhaps I did speak out of turn. I apologize. You're right, I'm sorry. I must have had too much wine myself. You had better not let it happen again.
Sophia, could you come here, please? Yes, Miss Jennifer. I just wanted to say that was the loveliest meal I've ever tasted. I don't know how you do it. You cunning pixie!
Cunning Pixie. Also das klang jetzt irgendwie profan, aber es ist ja nett gemeint.
You are too kind, miss. Of course I will have a tea and cakes for you in the drawing room, as usual after dinner. Oh, you are so good to me, you sweet thing. So very, very good to me. Moment, im Ernst? Flirting und Advances? Muss ich jetzt so gehen? None for me. I'm full. I won't have any. Thank you. I couldn't eat another bite. Well, you weren't offered any, so there.
Please, Jennifer, let's all try and be civil. Anyway, let's not forget why we are here today. To celebrate your father's birthday. Such a very important occasion for us all. You are so dear to us, Malcolm.
Happy birthday, Daddy!
Indeed, happy birthday, Father. Let's hope it will be one to remember. So, doing the deed. Now it is time to quickly plant any items of evidence you have. To do so, simply enter the desired room and select the item in your inventory. When you are ready, enter the drawing room to do the deed. Ja, also die Seiten aus dem Buch werde ich natürlich... Ich habe mich gar nicht lange umgucken können jetzt, ne? Also George ist hier. Das ist meine Mutter. Hier ist der Drawing Room. Ne? Da ist meine Schwester. Die werde ich umbringen. Schön. Das kann ich auch direkt tun. Dann gehe ich natürlich mal rauf, ne? ins Zimmer meiner Schwester. Das weiß natürlich nicht, wo meine Schwester ihr Zimmer hat. Your parents' room has not changed in years. It remains a frozen time capsule of a childhood you would sooner forget. Ja, dann... Ich sollte die Seiten aus dem Tagebuch meiner Mutter im Zimmer meiner Schwester verstecken, ne? Dann sieht so aus, als hätte sie... You enter the surreal atmosphere of your sister's room. Mirrors of various sizes cover the walls, creating the eerie illusion of a crowded space. Mein Gott, dann sehe ich mir ständig in die Augen. Wo ist denn mein Inventar, please? Items. Pages from Diary. Ah, okay. Ich muss das Ding wirklich... So. They tell me that Jennifer's condition is likely to only get worse. I don't know how I can get on this way. Sometimes I wish never been born. Ja, das lasse ich jetzt hier. And it goes on. Yes, these 2 pages alone should raise some suspicion about your mother. You want to plant this item of evidence in this room. Yes. Ich muss also nicht sagen, wo ich es verstecke, sondern nur immer. You decide your sister's wardrobe is the ideal location to plant some evidence. The police will definitely search this room thoroughly. Gut. Dann würde ich doch mal sagen, gehe ich mal morden. A reaping I shall go, a reaping I shall go. Hey ho, the naughty-o, a reaping I shall go. Wo ist sie? Where is she? In the drawing room. Ach, da. Are you sure you want to enter the drawing room? Once inside, there is no turning back. You see Jennifer staring out of the window ahead of you, lost in one of her strange moods. She hasn't noticed you enter the drawing room. Now is the time. Choose the murder weapon. Candlestick. Creeping up behind your sister, you take out a candlestick and feel its weight in your hand. Somehow it feels heavier now that you are about to make use of it. Raising it high above your head, you bring it down with some force on the back of her head. It is enough. She slumps noisily to the floor in front of you, blood seeping from a head wound. You drop the candlestick on the ground behind her corpse. You need to get out of here before someone comes to investigate. Ich hoffe, es sieht mich keiner, dass ich hier rausgehe. Kann ich hier rausgehen? Ne, ich gehe da raus. Damn it! She's going to see me! Ich will mit meiner Mutter sprechen.
Did you hear that, Mr. Aaron?
Was ist das hier für eine Zeit? Kann ich die nicht auch umbringen dann? Der Hund. Wo kommt der her? Good evening, everyone. I am Chief Inspector Winston Lewis. I understand that this is a difficult time for your family. You're damn right it is. I want to know what you're doing wasting time in here while my daughter's killer is still out there. Well, Mr. Bruce, we have found no evidence of forced entry, and nobody was seen entering or leaving the house. Ich glaube, ich spreche ein bisschen wie Jimmy Stewart. It would seem entirely possible, then, that the killer is in this room. What?
No.
That seems highly unlikely, Inspector. Perhaps it is. However, in order to follow protocol, I will have to interview each of you in turn. Mrs. Bruce, would you like to meet me in the library first?
I suppose so.
Wir haben eine library? The interview. Thank you for joining me in here, Mr. Bruce. I'm sure this won't take long. Before we begin, I will need to search your person. Best to get these formalities out of the way. Is this really necessary? I'm afraid so. Turn around, please. Now that's out of the way. Let's move on to the interview. As you know, I have already spoken to everyone else who was present in the house at the time of your sister's death. We have also now completed our initial search of the house, but we'll get to that later. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? First of all, we will run through all of your activities since your arrival. The maid says that you and the butler arrived shortly after 7 o'clock, and she greeted you at the door. I note that you did not stop to chat with either of your parents when you arrived, which strikes me as very peculiar indeed. Doch, Moment, ich habe mit meiner Mutter gesprochen. Habe ich sogar Wert drauf gelegt, oder irre ich mich? It makes me wonder what else you were doing that was so important. Did you speak to your sister before dinner? No, I did not. I didn't see Jennifer until dinner. Very well then. Let's move on to the events that took place during dinner. I understand there was an argument involving the butler. You felt that he was being treated unfairly. Interessante Auswahl. Family always treats the servants poorly. I was just trying to stir things up, really. No, that never happened. Nee, ich leugne das mal, ne? Also, ich hatte ja einen weiteren Vorschlag. I don't recall any argument. Somehow I doubt everyone else who attended dinner is lying to me, Mr. Bruce. Now, I need to ascertain your location at the time of your sister's death. Where were you when you heard the maid scream? Ja, sie hat mich ja direkt gesehen, ne? Das habe ich ja dann mitbekommen. West Wing, East Wing, Dining Room, Country, Foyer, Library, Parlor. Die haben eben Drawing Room gesagt, jetzt wird es Parlor genannt. Ich war doch hier, das ist doch der East Wing dann, ne? Dining Room. Dining Room, da habe ich sie ja getroffen. Ich würde sogar zugeben, dass ich meine Schwester gefunden habe, also die Leiche, oder? I was in the dining room. Yes, the maid mentioned seeing you in there. That does put you quite close to the scene of the murder, I'm afraid. As I said earlier, we have completed our initial search of the property. During the search, we discovered some pages from your mother's diary. It seems that she was having a hard time dealing with your sister's condition. In some places, she even seems to wish for her death. Does that surprise you? Yes, I'm lost for words. Moment, hier hätte ich eigentlich sagen wollen, ja doch, sie hat sich oft darüber beklagt. I'm curious about the murder weapon. I understand the candlestick used in the attack belonged to your mother. It is all very interesting. I will be completely honest with you now, Mr. Bruce. Your behavior this evening has given me cause for suspicion. I think I will also be taking another look at the evidence surrounding your mother. Given the weapon that was used, obviously suicide is not a realistic possibility. Now, as for what happens next, I am going to ask you to accompany me to the station for further questioning. Am I under arrest? Not currently, Mr. Bruce, unless you want it that way. And I will need to be speaking to your mother again. Also, ich hatte ja keine Chance, mit Sophia nochmal zu reden oder so. Ich hätte jetzt so gesagt, oh mein Gott, Sophia, schau dir das an. Sie ist tot, was ist hier passiert? You and your mother were both taken in for questioning, and you did your best to convince them of your innocence and of your mother's guilt. However, the police soon discovered that you had an obvious motive to want your sister dead. From that moment on, you were the prime suspect. Trial was a long and difficult one. Finally, the jury found you guilty of the crime. You were given a life sentence for the murder of your sister and would be spending the rest of your life sleeping behind bars. I'm innocent! Rufe ich jeden Tag. In your dank little cell there was nowhere to hide or to escape from the nightmares when they came. The deed itself had taken possession of your soul. Perhaps this was her final revenge. Ein kleines Moralspiel. Also, interessant. Habe ich jetzt... Habe ich viele Möglichkeiten gehabt, mich da reinzuwaschen? Nicht wirklich, ne? Ey, ich kann speichern, im Ernst? So ein kleines Ding hier. Wir machen noch eine Runde, ja? Jetzt weiß ich ungefähr, wie es abläuft hier. Skip Intro. So.
Good evening, Mr. Arian. Arian
Nation, ne?
Aaron, may I take your code?
Diesmal bin ich ein Arschloch, ja? Only if I can take your dress. Certainly, my dear, but only if I can take your dress. Okay. Mr. Aaron, that's no way to talk to a lady.
Mr. Aaron was just making a little joke, George. It's fine.
But he can't talk to...
It's fine, George. I want to have a rich master, you know. He can do whatever he wants with me. Please let me take your code.
You're new, und jetzt your dress, ne? You're new, aren't you?
Sophia's my name. I recognize you from the pictures, Mr. Aaron. I'm not new exactly. I've been employed by your family for almost a year. It's just that you have never visited before.
Just what are you trying to say? Whether or not I visit my family is my own business. I would expect better manners from a servant.
Oh, I'm sorry I offended you, Mr. Aaron. It was not my intention, I promise. You are here now, and I'm sure you are eager to meet with the others. Your father is in the library on your left.
Ach, das habe ich eben gar nicht zur Kenntnis genommen.
And your mother is in the parlor, which is on your right. Your sister is upstairs in her room, I think.
And where can I find you, my pretty? What if I want to join you for some pleasant company? I
will be in the kitchen preparing dinner. I'll sound the bell when dinner is served, and it something, you know, something happens so that it takes longer, then the bell might never ring, you know. So if somebody enters, bla bla bla. Ja, es könnte Schlechteres geben, als ein Arschloch wie mich als Mann zu haben für eine Angestellte in der Zeit. So, guck ich mir das hier mal an. You recall this old grandfather clock very well from your childhood. You used to believe that if it ever stopped ticking, time itself might stop moving. Sehr tiefsinnig, aber kann ich nicht nehmen oder so, ne? Wer ist das hier? This portrait of one of your ancestors dates from the 50th century. If you recall your father's lessons correctly. Apropos Vater. Ich werde ihn mal begrüßen. Mal gucken, ob er eben nur so fies rüberkam. Oder ob es wirklich ist. Oh, das ist der Hund. Hier ist süß. Even now the family must smell of your father's library. Even now, the familiar, musty smell of your father's library fills you with dread as you step inside. You have too many bad memories of this room. Ja, spreche ich ihn nochmal an. Hello, father. I killed a man. Your father remains silent for several moments, and a chill seems to pass through the library. When he finally speaks, it is in a quiet and bitter tone. You told me that you'd never enter this house again, boy. Why are you here? Ja, ich will ihn ja rankriegen, ne? Bin ich nett zu ihm, ne? Nice to see you, of course, father. Happy birthday. It's obvious why I'm here. I want to put all that unpleasantness behind us and wish you a happy 50th birthday. Happy? You honestly think this is a happy day for me? Another day when I can watch my life's work crumble into nothing? Another day to see our bloodline slit its own throat? You know how to make me happy. Move back to Dunshield, take your proper place, and do your damn duty. I will consider it if my sister is put into care. If I were to move back to Dunshield, I would have certain expectations. Oh, and what expectations would those be? Firstly, I refuse to suffer your daily insults. You will need to learn to be more decent towards me. Secondly, I want my sister to be put into care, where she belongs. I cannot live with her insanity for another day. You would like that, wouldn't you, boy? You obnoxious little shit selling out your own blood? Those are my terms. Well, you know what you can do with your terms. The nerve of you. You're the same snot-nosed brat you always were, boy. Obviously, I didn't give you enough discipline as a child. Perhaps you're the one who needs some discipline? You should watch your words, old man. I'm not as helpless as I used to be. Maybe not on the outside. On the inside, you're every bit as small and weak as always. Don't think for a moment that you could stand against me. You're not man enough, and you never will be. You'd better leave this room before I decide to revisit the past. Get out of here! So, ich gehe ja gleich raus, aber ich will noch eine Mordwaffe finden, Vater. These shelves are labeled Arts and Culture. Den Hund kann ich nicht streichen. Schade. These shelves are labeled British History. Your father's best friend, a hunting dog named Beastie. The dog looks at you for a moment, then walks away, when it realizes you have no food. Get away, boy! That chair is for the dog! Na gut. Dann muss ich voraus. Jetzt bin ich mal gespannt. Kann ich nur 2 Sachen machen oder so? Oder kann ich... Moment, wenn das hier meinen Eltern und hier mein... Ist das hier das Gesindehaus? Das wird ja wohl nicht der Ort sein für die... für George und Sophia, oder? Step inside your former bedroom, now simple guest room. Most of your old furniture has vanished, probably thrown on a bonfire, knowing your father.
The clock is ticking. Soll es. This wardrobe is vacant and barren. Just like my loins. Your bedside table has been emptied of whatever items you have left behind. Is that a dagger I see before me? There is at least one item of yours remaining in your former room, your old fencing sword. At least this is a weapon with which you are well practiced. Ja, nehme ich mir nochmal. Damit werde ich sie umbringen. Yes, I'm sure. You find that there is no way you can conceal this large weapon on your person without causing suspicion. Perhaps if you had kept your coat on... Ach, das durfte ich hier gar nicht mehr am Anfang, ne? There is at least one item of yours remaining in your former room. Achso, Moment. Dann kann ich das gar nicht mitnehmen. Leave the sword. Ja, lass es mal da. Dann gucke ich mich mal in Ruhe um hier. Wie sehe ich denn aus? You look at your reflection in the mirror. Funny, you don't look much like a murderer. Noch nicht. Aber bald.
Mother says dinner is ready. Go away, little rat.
Das ist aber heiß. Als Kind. Oh Gott, Verzeihung, aber sieht doch cool aus.
Jennifer, what are you doing? Why do you stare at your reflection like that? Stop making fun of me.
I'm not making fun. I really want to know.
I just wish that...
What, Jennifer? What do you wish?
I wish you'd go drown in a lake. Lake, 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 lake. Mother is waiting for you.
Flashbacks in so einem kleinen Spiel. Das ist ja eine coole Sache. My sister's obsession with mirrors goes right back to her childhood. I never did understand why. Tja. Dann gucke ich mich doch jetzt mal in Ruhe in ihrem Zimmer um. Was hier alles so ist. You enter the surreal atmosphere of her sister's room. Mirrors of various sizes cover the walls, creating the eerie illusion of a crowded space. So, was finde ich denn jetzt hier? Sister is too busy staring at herself in the mirror to notice you rifling through her wardrobe. Die ist doch gar nicht hier. Hoffe ich. You find a pair of silky undergarments with her initials embroidered on the inside. Planted in the right place, these might weave a tale of their own. Take the undergarments. Die kann ich ja wohl unterbringen an mir, ne? Ja. Ob mir das Spiel erlaubt, die bei meinem Vater zu verstecken? So, das wirklich eher als incestuöses... Ach so, da sitzt sie tatsächlich.
Aha, I thought I smelled a rat. Have you come to see me, little rat?
It takes a rat to smell a rat. Ich will ja fies sein, ne? My, you do have a keen sense of smell if you noticed my scent. Perhaps you are the rat here.
I'm nothing like a rat, filthy, filthy creatures. You used to have a pet rat, didn't you? Remember what I did to him? Oh, how he squeaked. Such great pain for such a little creature. What did you want to talk to me about, little rat?
I'm going to make you pay for everything. War jetzt natürlich sehr, sehr emotionsgeladen, aber wenn ich an Charlie, meine Ratte, denke, werde ich wütend. I want to let you know that your lifetime of tormenting me is about to come to an end.
Ha ha ha! Oh, you always were so funny, proud little rat. Funny, smelly, proud, irritating, little... Go away. I don't want to speak to you anymore.
Sie erinnert mich irgendwie an eine Bösewichtin aus einem John Waters Film oder so. Achso, nee, setzen wollte ich mich nicht. You don't want to sit around in this deranged place. Aber vielleicht finde ich hier noch die Mordwaffe, mit der ich sie umbringen kann. Ornate clocks are your sister's third love, right behind mirrors and cruelty. There's nothing of interest around your sister's bed. Ich wette doch. So many mirrors. So, jetzt brauche ich noch eine Waffe. Jetzt werde ich das Ding natürlich bei meinem Vater verstecken. Parents' room has not changed in years. Time capsule. It is only once you slide the top drawer open that you remember this is where your father keeps his shotgun. Shiny barrel almost seems to call out to you. Guns are certainly noisy, but efficient weapons. Ich werde sie nie mit einer Schrotflinte erschießen, oder? Dann kommen noch sofort alle Leute zusammengelaufen. You go through your wardrobe, but find nothing apart from clothes and your mother's successive collection of jewelry. Das Bett ist auch nicht interessant. You get down on all fours and peek underneath your parents' bed. Find nothing under there. Okay, sitzen will ich da auch nicht. Im Keller war ich noch nicht, ne? Gucken wir uns da mal um. Ach, ich wollte das Ding ja noch oben verstecken bei meinem Vater. This dusty old wine cellar is where your father likes to practice billiards. The laundry room is next door and beyond that the servants' quarters. Mit den Servants wollte ich jetzt eigentlich gar nicht groß was anfangen. Your father always keeps an impressive amount of wine stocked in the house. Kann ich hier Billard spielen? A billiard cue belonging to your father lies across the table. This could certainly serve as an unorthodox murder weapon. Ist das Ding auch zu groß? Are you sure you want? Remember, you can only pick 2 objects. Yes, I'm sure. And there's no way you can conceal. Perhaps, ja, wenn ich das machen will, muss ich also meinen Coat anziehen. Gut. Gucken wir mal, was noch hier unten ist. Find nothing in these drawers except useless cleaning supplies. There's nothing here but wet laundry. There's nothing here but wet laundry. Find nothing of interest among the maid's supplies. Okay. Mal gucken, ob die jetzt da unten sind. Ja, offenbar. This is certainly not the time for sitting around. Okay. Can't go rummage through drawers while he's watching you. Ja, ich dachte, er guckt weg. Oh, it's you, sir. You seem annoyed about something. I don't like the way you spoke to Sophia just now. Frankly, I'm quite shocked and disgusted, sir. Come on, I was just having a bit of fun. Don't tell me you've never flirted with a pretty piece of skirt. There's no harm in it. Even if you're right, there is a time and a place for everything. Ja, zum Beispiel, da war er, oder? Seems you have a lot to learn about being a man, sir. Unfortunately, this is not my place to teach you. This conversation is over. Ja, dann gehen Sie, verlassen Sie mein Zimmer. Auf Wiedersehen, George. Can't go rummage through drawers while he's... George doesn't look like he's willing to communicate further. Wie kann ich den denn hier rauskriegen, bitte? Pair of shoes. Okay, dann gehe ich mal zu Sophia rüber. Ich wäre jetzt auch bereit gewesen, George hier ans Messer zu liefern. Oh, sie ist gar nicht da. Broken mirror sits upon the maid's desk. Odds that it belongs to your sister and the maid's been hiding it here. After accidentally breaking it. Shard of glass from the mirror would be a poetic murder weapon. Mach ich das doch. Are you sure you want to take the broken glass? Ja, eigentlich nicht. Ich will sie gar nicht damit reinziehen, weil jetzt hat sich George schon, ist er irgendwie... Jetzt ist George schon aufmerksam geworden. Maid's bed is immaculately well made. So, George kriegt da nicht raus, ne? Oder nach dem Essen vielleicht? Ich scheine jetzt Zeit zu haben bis zum Essen, wahrscheinlich bis ich die letzten Sachen hier gefunden, also die letzte Sache genommen habe oder so. Ich werde jetzt erstmal, obwohl, ja doch. Obwohl vielleicht, ich guck mal, bei wem ich hinterher das verstecke, was ich da habe. Was habe ich denn hier noch? There's nothing. Old lectern. Manage to force open the locked drawer of the writing list. Inside you find pages of poetry penned in your sister's handwriting. Seem to be love letters penned to an unidentified female. From the descriptions you would guess it's the new maid. Interesting. Ja, Moment, das ist blöd. Ich habe jetzt schon die... Also, ich könnte die Glasscherbe und das wäre natürlich gut, ne? Aber kann ich in dieser Runde nicht machen, würde ich sagen. An assortment of families' records and heirlooms are contained within this ornate glass cabinet. Also, oh, Flashback, Flashback!
I don't know.
Of course you do. Use that head for once, boy.
Great Uncle Thomas?
What initials do you see on that silverware?
CB. CBGB.
And what kind of half-wit spells Thomas with a C?
I don't know.
Well, I do. I spell it with a C. It's the kind of half-wit that's standing right next to me. Now, which of your ancestors owned that silver chalice? If you get this one wrong, there will be serious consequences, boy. Ja, genau. Onkel Onkel hat's gemacht. I'll say one thing for my father. His style of parenting has always been consistent. So, wo ich auch noch nicht war, ist hier oben. Weißt du, wo das hier hinführt? Walking into the pantry, you begin to salivate at the promising scent of roast beef coming from the kitchen beyond. Find nothing of interest in the drawers. On top of the cabinet, however, you see a blue box marked rat poison. Take the rat poison. Ich meine, ist das Spiel so gedacht, dass es dann immer das richtige Mordwerkzeug mit dem richtigen Ding sein muss? Ich guck erst nochmal mich genauer um. You take the red poison. Ah, Moment! Ach, jetzt ist... Okay. And hide it on your person. Yes, poison is a nice clean weapon. At least in all those murder stories you used to read.
Dinner is about ready now. I will ring the bell to call everyone.
Okay, also wenn ich beide Sachen habe, dann gibt's Dinner. Und dann sitze ich da. Kann ich jetzt das Dinner? Dinner is served. Kann ich jetzt das Dinner vergiften?
Sophia, could you come here a moment? Yes, ma'am. Pour me some more wine. Yes, ma'am.
But, madam...
Oh, what is it, George?
I must protest. It has always been my duty to pour the wine at dinner.
Oh, well, I don't want to cause any trouble.
Nonsense. What does it matter, George? Stop being overly pedantic. But I... He just wants to look down your dress. Das wirke ich ihm jetzt rein, ne? Weil ja, mich hier so als Mann sollte man hinter Schweinen stehen, die sich ranmachen an irgendwie. I'm afraid George just enjoys the view while pouring the wine, Mother. What? I never... I've noticed him staring at your breasts on many occasions when he does it. Jennifer's too. That's a lie!
Aaron, please, don't make up such stories.
I don't know where you get the nerve, boy. Don't worry, George. I don't believe this for a moment. Ach, there's der... Oh. Thank you, sir.
An interfering little rat, isn't he, Daddy? Die hassen mich alle.
Selbst wenn ich sie nicht umbringen würde, würden die mich an die Polizei ausliefern. Yes, she is. Why can't you ever keep your mouth shut, boy? Maybe... Oh, jetzt. Das ist jetzt ein schwerer Burn, 3rd degree. Maybe you're the one who needs to shut his mouth. Or perhaps you should shut your mouth for a change, Father, before I come over there and do it for you.
Aaron!
Threaten your own father, would you? You hold that tongue, boy. Another word.
Sophia, could you come here, please? Yes, Miss Jennifer. I just want to say that was the loveliest meal I've ever tasted. I don't know how you do it, you cunning pixie. You're too kind, miss. Of course I will have tea and cakes for you in the drawing room as usual after dinner. Oh, and you are so good to me, you sweet thing. So very, very good to me.
Would you two stop flirting with each other? Jetzt, wenn ich sowieso durch bin bei allen, dann auch gern noch bei allen. Really, you two, you don't need to broadcast your affection so obviously in public.
I'm sorry, Mr. Aaron, I never... Shush, rat! Go crawl into a hole somewhere.
That's quite enough of your silly jokes, Aaron. Anyway, let's not forget why we are here today. To celebrate your father's birthday. Such a very important occasion for us all. You are so dear to us, Malcolm. Ich überlegte gerade, ob ich... Nein, ich habe ja gleich noch Zeit, was zu verstecken. Happy birthday, Daddy. Indeed, happy birthday, fucker. Let's hope it will be one to remember. Doing the deed. Now it's time to quickly plant any items of evidence you have. To do so, simply enter the desired room and select your items. Okay, würde ich doch sagen, werde ich das bei meinem Vater... Ich hoffe, der ist jetzt nicht gerade in seinem Zimmer. Bei meinem Vater verstecken. Wie war es nochmal mit Items? Hier. Items. Undergarments. You don't particularly relish the thought of carrying these around in your pocket. Needs must be. You want to plant the items evidence in this room? Yes. Decide to place the item in the wardrobe. That should be easy enough for the police to find. Das ist eine verrückte Idee, ne? Wenn ich jetzt zurückdenke, wären andere Sachen naheliegender gewesen. Aber okay, dann hat mein Vater sich nicht nur mich misshandelt, sondern meine Schwester auch. Ja, und es würde Sinn ergeben, dass er sie zur Alleinerbin gemacht hat, ne? So in seinen perversen Versuchen, sie irgendwie für sich zu gewinnen und sie dann aber umbringt, so, jetzt bin ich nur mal gespannt. Theoretisch schreit sie ja jetzt nicht, ne? Wenn ich sie vergifte. Dann kann ich ihr da was lassen? Zu trinken oder so? Are you sure? Ja. Und dann werde ich hoffentlich nicht direkt entdeckt dabei. See Jennifer standing... Ach, schon wieder. Standing out of the window. Ahead of you. She hasn't noticed you. Musik ist gut. Hier, schluck das, so Ratte! This is a weapon, not a piece of evidence. You may need it. Ja, aber will ich ja. Choose the murder weapon. Okay, so rum geht das. Die haben mich jetzt sehr oft Ratte genannt, ne? Auch bei seinen anderen. Das ist wahrscheinlich nicht gut, ne? Poison, a silent weapon of an intelligent killer. Sprinkled over the cakes on the table, it could easily be mistaken for frosting of sugar. Na, ich hau sie mit dem Paket Rattengift tot. Having added a generous portion of your special topping to the cakes, you step back into the shadows, watch to make sure she eats them. Sure enough, she soon turns to the plate and devours 2 of them in quick succession. Poison works surprisingly quickly. She begins to choke and her skin turns green. Finally, she falls to the ground in front of you. You examine her body, make sure she isn't breathing before placing the container of poison on the desk. On the desk? The deed is done. It's time to leave the room before someone discovers it. Wehe, ich werde jetzt wieder von Sophia entdeckt. Ich kann auch nicht woanders hin, ne? The deed is done, okay. Okay, ich gehe raus. Ich habe Zeit, mir lang zu gehen. Das ist ja cool. Mutter, mit dir habe ich noch gar nicht geredet. Your mother is listening to her music. You know better than to disturb her. Wer auch immer da geschrien hat, er muss meine Schwester umgebracht haben. Werfe ich mal so in den Raum und hoffe, dass das gut ankommt. Wenn ich jetzt so drüber nachdenke, das kann ich dir erzählen. Mal gucken, wie das hier so ausgeht. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Inspector Winston Lewis. I understand that this is a difficult time for your family. You're damn right it is. Want to know what you're doing wasting time in here while my daughter's killer is still out there? Well, Mr. Bruce, we have found no evidence of forced entry, and nobody was seen entering or leaving the house. It would seem entirely possible then that the killer is now in this room. What? No. That seems highly unlikable, Inspector. Perhaps it is. However, in order to follow protocol, I will have to interview each one of you in turn. Mrs. Bruce, would you like to meet me in the library first? I suppose so. So, jetzt bin ich mal gespannt. Also, ich nehme an, dass wirklich die Zusammensetzung aus Item und Murder Weapon halt irgendwie schon mal entscheidend ist. Aber ob das Interview es auch noch ist, das ist natürlich die interessante Frage. Thank you for joining me in here, Mr. Bruce. I'm sure this won't take long. Before we begin, I will need to search your person. Best to get these formalities out of the way. Is it really necessary? Oh, I'm afraid so. Turn around, please. Oh. Now, that's out of the way. Let's move on to the interview. As you know, I've already spoken to everyone else who was present in the house at the time of your sister's death. We have also now completed our initial search of the house, but we'll get to that later. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? First of all, we will run you through all your activities since your arrival. The maid says that you and the butler arrived shortly after 7 o'clock, and she greeted you at the door. Sophia told me that you seemed quite abrasive at times during your conversation with her. Ja, wenn ich es auf sie schiebe, dann wird George natürlich gesagt haben, dass sie keinen Grund dazu gab. The journey. Yeah, that was unfortunate, but I had just been through a very long journey. The weather in particular had left me in a foul mood, and I felt very bad about my behavior afterwards. Well, I think I can understand that. I can't stand this foul weather either. The maid says that you made several lewd comments and advances towards her during your conversation. This leads me to question your character, I'm afraid. Of course I did. Have you seen the maid? It was only intended as a harmless joke. Purely as a light-hearted joke. In retrospect, it may have been inappropriate. Yes, it is entirely possible to misjudge these situations, isn't it? It's worth noting that the butler has also commented on your inappropriate behavior towards the maid. Können wir mal aufhören, darüber zu reden? Mal ehrlich, was ist das hier für ein... Wo leben wir denn hier? Ja, ist das jetzt... Macht mich das zum Mörder meiner Schwester? You went to see your father in the library. I understand your conversation became quite heated. Of course it did. My father is impossible. Our conversations often become heated. I see. It caused you to lose your temper then. You discussed the prospect of your moving back to Dunshield. Said you would only move back if your sister was placed into psychiatric care. For her own well-being, of course. I had her own best interests at heart. She belonged in care. Kann ich jetzt irgendwas sagen in die Richtung, dass ich Angst um sie hatte, weil mein Vater sie oft misshandelt hat als Kind und bis heute tut? You may be right, Mr. Bruce. However, you seem to be the only one who felt that way. Your father also told me that you threatened him with physical violence during your conversation. Yes, but he threatened me first. He threatened to beat me, so I threatened him back. Are you in the habit of threatening old men, Mr. Bruce? Father can handle himself, trust me. Wenn wir schon diese Flashbacks hier haben, würde ich natürlich denken, dass sofern jetzt der Kriminalbeamte, was ich glaube, Interesse an der Wahrheit hat, ja, dass er mir eigentlich Chance geben wird, ne, das so zu sehen. Ich meine, die ganze Familie hasst mich, die werden nur Schlechtes über mich gesagt haben. Ich bin mal gespannt, ob er jetzt darauf reinfällt. I see. It's very strange that you didn't go and have a conversation with your mother in the parlor when you arrived. Makes me wonder what else you were doing that was so important. Let's discuss your conversation with the butler. As I understand it, he confronted you about your earlier behavior with the maid. I understand that you defended your actions by stating that you were simply having a bit of fun. Do you often have fun at the expense of others, Mr. Bruce? Yes, of course, I'm rich! Yeah, only girls who insist on being teasers. I only have fun at the expense of floozies who like to play hard to get. Mr. Bruce, I find that quite shocking. Warum? Warum findet er das shocking? Wir leben hier in einer patriarchalen Welt. Ja, er sollte es zumindest verstehen, auch wenn er es nicht gut heißt. Did you speak to your sister before dinner? Yes, I did. Ich werde ja nicht auch noch lügen. Yes, I went to her room to see her. I see. And what did you discuss with her? Nothing at all. She insulted me and I left. It was as brief as most conversations I've had with my sister. She called me a rat, and not wanting to be insulted further, I soon left the room. Did that make you angry? To be honest, I was used to it from her. Das ist eine gute Antwort. Hätte ich auch gegeben. Let's move on to the events that took place during dinner. I understand that during dinner you made an unseemly accusation towards the butler. Yes, his perverted behavior is quite unseemly. Das ist jetzt eine Lüge natürlich. I felt that I had to comment. His blatant leering at the women in this house had gone on far too long. Das klingt nicht glaubhaft von mir, ne? I see. Did he ever leer at your sister? All the time. Interesting. There was an argument between you and your father. You threatened him. Only in the heat of the moment. And I didn't mean it, oder? Doch. Yes. Der darf ruhig wissen, dass ich meinen Vater hasse. Warum da? Aber das Wissen ist doof, ne? Wenn ich das von meinem Vater schieben will. It was more than a threat. It was a promise. You seem like quite a violent person, Mr. Bruce. At one point you made the accusation that the maid and your sister were in some sort of inappropriate relationship. I'm almost certain that they were. It seemed obvious enough to me. The way those two were carrying on, my parents were just oblivious to it. You believe your sister was in a lesbian relationship with the maid? Almost certainly. Interesting. Now I need to ascertain your location at the time of your sister's death. Ja, jetzt habe ich mich ziemlich reingeredet, ne? Also alle hassen mich. Ich mache klar, dass ich auch einige von denen hasse. Es sei denn, er sagt, ja, der Typ sieht ehrlich aus, ne? Ich versuchte irgendwas zu verheimlichen. Mal gucken. Where were you when you heard the maid scream? Ground floor. Parlor. I was in the parlor. Oh yes, your mother mentioned you were in there with her. As I said earlier, we have completed our initial search of the property. The search did not turn up any items which gave me cause to suspect anyone in particular. I'm curious about the murder weapon. The poison had apparently been sprinkled upon the cakes which the maid had prepared. Of course, your sister may have done this herself, if it was a suicide. Vielleicht hätte ich die Unterwäsche doch bei der Maid, also bei Sophia, verstecken sollen. Dann wäre es vielleicht irgendwie so ein... Interessant, also wenn ich jetzt so überlege, was ich vielleicht hätte machen sollen. Of course, your sister may have done it herself if it was a suicide. It is all very interesting. I will be completely honest with you now, Mr. Bruce. Frankly, your behavior leading up to your sister's death concerns me a great deal. There is a question or two regarding the butler, but personally, I don't buy it. Too cliché. Okay. I also think the evidence surrounding the maid might be worth another look. Despite her condition, I don't believe your sister committed suicide. Also auf jeden Fall habe ich sehr viel Verwirrung gestiftet. Das ist schon mal was, ne? Now, as for what happens next, I am placing you under arrest on suspicion of the murder of your sister. I think another interview with the maid will be required also. A verdict of suicide seems unlikely, I'm afraid. Das sieht nicht gut aus für mich, ne? As the only person to be arrested, you remain the prime suspect in the case. The evidence against you was overwhelming. At the trial, it did not take very long for the jury to return a guilty verdict. You were given a life sentence for the murder of your sister and would be spending the rest of your life sleeping behind bars. Was war denn mit dem Höschen da? Your dank little cell, there was nowhere to hide or to escape from the nightmares when they came. The deed itself had taken possession of your soul, and perhaps this was her final revenge. Fair enough. Also, sehr interessantes Spielkonzept. Und natürlich bin ich sehr erpicht darauf, es einmal zu schaffen, ja. Scot-free. Aber nicht in dieser Runde. Also nicht jetzt. Und ich werde mal drüber nachdenken, bevor ich wieder anfange. Am leichtesten könnte es sein, das irgendwie auf Sophia zu schieben, aber muss gucken, ob das irgendwie Sinn ergibt. Na gut. Wenn Sie interessiert, halten Sie Ausschau. Und drücken Sie die Daumen, dass ich mit dem Mord an einer unschuldigen Frau davonkomme. Bis zum nächsten Mal.